we want to discuss is about facets of the out-of-body experience. If we can understand the out-of-body experience, if we can have experiences that are, in a way, more enlightening, we will almost like remove the veil that we all have, in which we see life as this moment. We are so much fixated in our memories, of course, because the memories that we experience now, what we remember of ourselves, that is our identity. But our identity, the real identity, goes much beyond what we can recall, goes much beyond the type of phenomena that we can observe and recognize in ourselves, goes much beyond our emotions, our character even, because right now we manifest a character, we manifest a type of personality and principles that is the surface of our manifestation. But there is so much that maybe underneath all that, things that we have developed and learned in other lives. The out-of-body experience is an actual opportunity for us to unveil this reality, to be able to know more what life is about. Why would we know more what life is about? Because that put each event that we experience under a different perspective. If we, for example, would have something that happened in our garden and we are very mad about that, but if we were in the middle of a war, well, that event would be completely secondary. Is that true? Oh, forget the garden. So that is what I mean by perspective. So some of the things that we experience now, what we dedicate time to, what we dedicate energy to, what we suffer inside of ourselves about, what causes us pain, our dreams, what we would like to achieve, all of that is a result of our perspective of life. If we expand this perspective of life, it's like our whole vision of the world, but mainly of ourselves, is changed. The out-of-body experience is a very important tool to help us do that. And by achieving this, that's a true transformation. We do not become less. We do not let go of anything of who we are now and what we have now. On the contrary, we just add. We add information that we knew in previous lives. We add a knowledge about what exists beyond death, which is so important. We add to ourselves wisdom that we have, in a way, built up. In other moments of our evolution, we have built up, for example, when we had out-of-body experiences in previous bodies, in other lives that we had. We had wisdom of what we have learned and seen when we were in between lives, and all of the different realities that we have experienced. Right now, our manifestation is but a glimpse, but a figment of who we really are. So the out-of-body experience empowers ourselves to know more all of this. And that's why I love it. I love it because it's a tool for us to understand consciousness, human beings, life and death, and therefore evolution. If we can evolve, which means improving, becoming more mature, getting more skills, by skills I mean even mental skills, energetic skills, psychic skills like awareness, lucidity, then we are in a good place. We will feel calmer, we will feel happier, we will be more patient, we will be more respectful, we will be more forgiving. So everything improves. But evolution is what we are here to achieve. Not easy, huh? That means, well, breaking our limits, expanding our consciousness, learning about other realms, other situations, and this is what we want to achieve. Because of this, I dedicate so much to this study. And last week, I had here at the IAC campus what we call a VIP training. So I was giving a VIP training, which is one student, normally 7 to 10 days, it depends on the person, only dedicated to work on what is it that person, that student needs. And the whole campus is closed for that person alone to take advantage of the structure. And while I was there, I was with someone who had quite some experience with out-of-body experience, had quite a few. Still, what was the challenge was like small aspects. And that's what inspired me to do this talk about facets of out-of-body experience techniques. Because if we choose a technique that could be excellent for us, and please note how I am phrasing it, could be excellent for us. I cannot say if we choose a technique that is excellent, period. Because the technique that is going to be excellent for one person is not the same for another. We need to understand the mechanism of detaching from the body. For those of you who do not have my book, I don't have it here now to show you, that is called Astral Projection, a Primer. Please go to my website, download it. You have very important tips there because we need to have a minimum understanding of what is going on during the out-of-body experience so that we can select the right technique. But even if the technique is the right one for you, you need time to adjust. You need to know how to conduct your experiment, how to act at each specific step of the technique. What will happen is that you will, in some moments, act too soon or too late. So the person who was here, amazingly enough, there were cases in which he was doing an experiment and then he would describe, wow, I felt this, I felt that, and then I was floating, but I was not detaching, and then I thought of, in that example, relaxing more. You never think of relaxing more when you are at the point he was, because he was already floating. But he noticed the energies were stuck to his physical body. So he thought, I need to let go of the physical body more. But that was not a good measure. That was not a good way of dealing with that. Because if you were feeling, which is what he was feeling, it was not the whole body floating. It was, in that case, his legs. His legs were floating. So then he tried to let go more of the body. No. If that happens to you, what you have to do is focus on your legs. Forget the body. If you get to the point of being detached to that extent, you have two choices. Either you think of your astral body, and then you can try and roll to the side, or aim at floating. It's not an impulse. It's not using your will to float. No, it's more the intention to float. Using your will to float, you can do when you are already detached. Or when you fly. Have you ever had a very nice flight outside the body? That is delicious. By the way, I have a whole video here. How to control your flight when you are in an astral projection. At that moment when we are projected, there is a certain type of will that we apply. It's almost like as if we are creating with our will the impulse, the strength to fly. So you are creating that impulse. But if you are still inside the body, perhaps you aiming at just becoming lighter, just floating, it's less of a direct action. If rolling doesn't work, the astral body inside the physical body is loosened, detached enough for you to be able to roll. If not, that's not going to work, and that is going to bring you back. So in his case, his name was Brian, a very nice guy. So in the case of Brian, he was there with his legs floating, and he tried to focus on the rest of the body. So hearing his description, I said, no, next time, what you should do is that you focus on moving your legs, because he was completely feeling his legs free and his arms were starting to detach. So focus on that, your legs, your arm, and go. And that is what is going to work better, because you'll be more and more in contact with your astral body. Perhaps the astral body will just detach. Perhaps it will become lighter, easier, almost like sliding out. Perhaps it will sink and therefore going out. Perhaps we'll make it easier for the rolling. But there are many different ways of producing the separation. But the moment of the separation is tricky. And there are so many different components. Of course, when we are in a course of so many days, we are going to see what's missing and tackle that and discuss that point specifically. But I want to bring to you here what I observe that are the challenges that people have. Also, what we do before. What we do before is very important. If you just try the technique at the wrong moment I mean you are too tired, or you are too activated, or maybe you needed more energy work before. But we need to know what work, which means what exercise, what procedure to use, when. It's the same thing like you using your body, being active. Is that bad? No, never. But some days, perhaps what you need is more of a swimming, so it's going to be better for your joints. In other days, you need a little bit of jogging, or you need a little of muscle training. And that is more or less the idea of energy techniques. You need to know which one, what you are going to achieve, and how you have to do. If you don't do properly, it can cause you problems. It does. So it's not like any technique you hear from anybody, you just go and do any moment. That's my experience, okay? Because I have been giving private sessions for 2 decades and a half. And I see so many people that come to me because they went to a ceremony, a ritual. They start doing a technique. They went to work with somebody who was supposed to unblock their chakras. And then the own person, and sometimes whoever is there supporting them, they just mess up with their energy. All I'm saying is, would be make much easier for you if you know minimally what energy procedure to use when. And then, can you do velo before leaving the body? You can, you should, that is going to help. But not necessarily you are going to do before trying detaching. In the case of Brian, and it took 3 days for him to verbalize how he was doing and we be able to fix it. He would do sometimes like 40 minutes of velo and then 15 minutes of the OBE technique. No, you should do a velo session. 40 minutes is perfect to leave the body, even more. But then you have to have much more time for the OBE technique, because that will take time. Sometimes we are doing a technique to leave the body and literally in 2 minutes we are out. It happens to many people, but it's once in a while. And it's because different variables were present and it happened in that way. The reason why I'm saying all of these, and I'm going to go to your questions, is because many times we have the wrong expectation. We have an expectation that, I will discover a technique and that technique will take me out of the body. No, the technique will produce some result that can prompt your astral body to detach, but you will take you out of your body, because if you don't have the right mental attitude, the right energy, the right internal posture, the right type of concentration, if you don't focus on the right elements, it's not going to happen. So we have to want, but not too much. We have to be open-minded, but we still need to use our discernment. We are not going to, start imagining things. So leaving the body at will is not simple. I'm not saying it is difficult. It is easy once it happens. When it happens, you say, I got it. It was so easy. But if we want to produce it at will, with our control, choose where we go and all of that, it has complexities. And if it is your case that you are trying and you say, wow, why not for me? That is normal. And here is a very big important tip. Value what you have managed to achieve. Like what I was describing, the person had the legs floating and the energy is loose and some electrical shocks inside, and for a moment lost completely the sensation of the physical body, but at the end I didn't manage. That is not the right way for us to program our brain. I'm not talking programming our brain to produce the OBE by itself, but I'm talking about programming our brain not to react negatively and expect a negative result the following time, because that will impact. So we have to observe the progresses. If we keep observing the progresses, learning with them, and valuing our failures in a sense that, look what I've learned. Now I know what is my greatest challenge. Now I know what is stopping me. It's a different attitude we must have, because the internal attitude, it's a tiny shift, makes a big difference. Have you ever had the experience, which many people do, and that's why I'm going to mention it here, in which you are trying and focus on a technique, and all of a sudden you turn to your side, say, okay, I'm going to go sleep. But the OB happens. That is a quite common thing. But why? Because before, the internal attitude probably was of pushing too much, paying attention to the wrong aspects, expecting a specific type of sensation. And then when the person let go, there it is. So that is why it is so important that we have the internal attitude correct. Valuing the steps that we have progressed. Valuing the experience. If you don't do that, it becomes harder than it could be. I'm going to answer your questions. I see quite a few of them here. Hi, Sanjaya. Thank you for joining. I am a beginner in this field. What are the initial steps to take for astral projection? Can you explain very simply? Absolutely, yes. To have an astral projection for beginners, that is not difficult at all. What you have to do is, number one, in our mind, to be prepared for an experience that is an adventure, that you do not know how that adventure is going to unravel. The out-of-body experience, especially when we are beginning, it's a simple experience. You will float, you'll be around in your living room, or maybe you go somewhere that is meaningful to you, and whatever you see and you meet, you will study later why you ended up seeing that, going to that place. So, number one thing that you have to do, don't be concerned with where you are going to go, who you are going to meet. Because some people, because of stories they read in their minds, they know it can be a wonderful experience, but they also know that sometimes there are things that are not what we would like to immediately experience. So it's quite important that you feel open, not afraid of the sensations of detaching, not afraid of experiencing reality from a different perspective, and not afraid of what will happen. I promise you, whatever happens, you have all tools to take care of that. Even if we think of a bad thing, what would be a bad thing? Let me try and guess. Maybe you go to a type of dimension, which is probably not what's going to happen in the first times, but let's think of the worst, okay? You go to a type of dimension that everything has like different colors that you have never seen, and you cannot understand the surroundings. Some people can be confused because of that. Or maybe you meet someone that it's not that friendly and you do not know why. What are you going to do? Stay calm. When you keep your mind observing, calm, thinking clearly, you will get intuitions. You know what to do. Because you know what, Sanjaya? When we were born, we were already in that dimension. We came from there. We know what to do there. But here inside our physical brain, we don't know. We think of that and we do not have a reference. So don't worry about that. You will have a reference when you are there. That is the number one thing. Otherwise, you keep trying and you confuse your experience. You experience things that you are in doubt about, and that is not a nice type of experience, because the emotion that we create when we are uncertain, it's not very interesting to us. It's not very agreeable. But if you observe what's going on and you know you are going to study about that later, you are going to find answers and you are going to be calm and cool, and whatever happens, you will return safe and sound to your body. Worst case scenario, you think of your physical body and you are back. So no reason for concerns. This is the number one. Second thing that you will do is that you will learn how to relax. It's not just a physical relaxation like when we do for a meditation, for a yoga. It's more than that. You have to reach such a level of relaxation that is almost as if you are there in your bed, but you are not. But you are conscious, you are there. You are not, you don't even sense your physical body. And when you get to that point that you don't even sense your physical body, you don't sense your breathing. Have you ever got to that point? You are so relaxed, you're not sensing anything. Don't worry about the body. Don't think of your body at that point. Don't think of your breathing, otherwise you don't detach. You stay at that level of relaxation, and then you think of your internal condition. Almost like how is your state of mind at that time. And you think, I have no use for my body now. I want to know myself. I want to explore the real world, the real life. I want to give myself a chance to float and to fly and to go beyond the limits of this limited physical life, which I can go beyond and which is natural to me, and I can absolutely control all facets of that. You see, I'm putting that into words. You don't have to say the words, but you have to bring that feeling to you. If you do these two things, you clarify your mind about expectations. And then you reach actually three things. And then you reach a very deep relaxation, as I'm saying. And then even an internal mental relaxation. And then you adjust your internal attitude. You need nothing else. Then you need time, patience. Stay there. Oh, but I want to leave the body. Don't think of that. All you have to do is to put yourself in the right condition and wait. Because every night we leave the body. You and I. When we are at certain points of lower metabolism, the astral body detached, but we are unconscious most of the times, not always. So leaving the body is natural. If we remain conscious, but put all of the conditions precisely at the point it has to be, we will witness ourselves starting detaching. Another thing is be prepared to sensations that are unusual. Unusual doesn't mean strange. No, they're all pleasant, interesting. Unusual means not things that we feel in everyday life. If you feel, for example, a vibrational state, like your whole body, all the cells inside vibrating, that is delicious, but it's different. So some people, they are very impressionable. Anything that is different, they jump. Sometimes one person would do all of this. However, the environment around would not be very inviting, welcoming to somebody leaving the body. Like when we start detaching, we start becoming conscious of the energy dimension around, of the astral dimension that is around. That has to be minimally balanced. But this is something that, with the techniques to leave the body, we will observe. Everything is good. I start detaching. I feel compelled to go further. I feel it's open there for me. Or something kinds of stop me. If that something is not me, and I'm doing everything as I said here to you now, then whatever is making it more difficult is in the environment around, not physically. It could be physically, but most of the times energetically. So those are my tips for somebody who is beginning. I think that is simple. It's just allowing our bodies to do what it does every night. Deep relaxation, get very close to the state of sleep, feel comfortable enough to fall asleep. But in this case, the body falls asleep, but we don't. And then Vinit, hi Vinit, nice to see you here with us. How much time should we devote for OBE? Is there any standard time for separation? Usually, is between 1 hour and a half, 2 hours and a half, 3 hours. That is the standard time. But as I said, sometimes it can happen much sooner. The more we apply the same technique and our astral body starts getting used to that technique, it kind of works sooner. So if we are with our energies loose and we are trained, it's not so much to be trained in a technique, is to have a conditioning of performing that technique. So we get results sooner. So let's say 45 minutes for somebody who has been practicing for a month and a half, 2 months, the same technique. But I'd say we have to expect at least 2 hours. The point is, if we are relaxed, if we are learning to enjoy every step, not being in a hurry, 2 hours doesn't mean much because the physical body is resting. Very good. I hope it helped, didn't it? Lisa, hi Lisa. Nice to see you here. Is there an optimal velo frequency head-feet-head that seems to work to most people? I think there is one that is more common to be used. I'm going to try and show with my hands. But there is not an optimal because that will be different from person to person. So suppose you do like this. So I would say 4 seconds, 5 seconds, one path, then 4, 5, another. That is a good rhythm because we have to give it time. But some people, when they create an impulse, it goes like this. Much faster than this. It's not so easy because sometimes people try to do and it can be done and it's not difficult, but it is difficult to do with a lot of energy. We only manage to if our energy body is very loose. If we do a long velo session, it will happen. How important and helpful is training the passive concentration like meditation on breathing, etc. for the astral projection? If a person cannot passively concentrate for a long time, does it signify decreasing the probability to be able to astral project professionally, right? Indirectly, yes. Because when somebody can concentrate on, I'm going to be passive, depends on what you are meaning to be passive. Because the way I read it, so I'm going to tell you how I interpret that. I interpret to be able to quiet down internally and to relax. But to be passive, OBE is not passive. And doing velo is not passive. Doing energy work, energy techniques is not passive. It's an action. All of them are actions. The OBE is an action that we have to be very patient because it takes a long time. So we cannot want to be active or exerting action over our astral body the whole time because we will prevent the OBE. But in a way, in our minds, our attitude is not passive. It's active without interfering. Not interfering is an action. Knowing when to concentrate more on your energy sensations, or the example that I was saying in the beginning of this talk, the legs are floating and then you concentrate more on your legs. That is active. Some meditations, and I will assume you are talking about those, try to put the person into a level of passivity that is only observing. Whatever happens, happens. Sometimes in the OBE that is the case, because if we prepare everything, the OBE will happen. So in a way, yes, we need that capacity to be calm, capacity to wait. But it's very different than meditation. It's very different. I see that the state during meditation is not the same state of consciousness that we are when we are training to go out of the body. And that is one of the things that can be quite challenging. Because some people, they are so used to meditate and they put themselves into a state that is more like a journey inwards, which sometimes the person relaxes so much, as you described, so focused, and the energies got so loose that that specific person in that event will end up leaving the body. but not typically. Typically, that person, even if the energies get very loose and there is a vibrational state and there is a loosening of the astral body, the person still remains connected and very close. Why? Because the focus is inwards. We need to remember that when we are doing an out-of-body experience, our focus is outwards. So we are going for an adventure outside. I do not know if I could answer your questions. I tried to give you the logics behind it so that you can decipher, in your case, what is the condition. So, you know what? Let me propose to you an experiment. Hopefully, you'll be able to fit this into your everyday life. You will find a moment that you consider is a moment that you can be relaxed in terms of the physical life. You are not going to be worried. So you are not going to go to work in 30 minutes. It's not like you are lying in bed, but you're so tired. Your mind is full of the situations that you have handled during the day. Your energy field is full of residue of energy of people you spoke with or thought of. It cannot be. It has to be you in a moment that you feel, that is the cleanest moment I have in my day. I'm not so much connected with what is to come or with what happened. It's just me here. And then you get that moment and you will practice only the condition of being with yourself, relaxed, and observing how your brainwaves change when you are relaxed. So you let your brainwaves go down. It's almost as if you witness yourself dreaming, and then you witness the hypnagogic states, the image that come in the hypnagogic states, and you stay there for as much time as you can. And at that point, you start paying attention to what you sense around your body, around here. Almost as if you could, in the same way you feel cold or heat, or you feel if your body is comfortable or not. Pay attention to that here, in the superficial layer around your body. When you pay attention to that, you will start observing the natural vibration of your energy body. That vibration is also inside your body. It is vibrating the whole time. It's just different types of vibration that we experience in different moments. But if you observe, there is some sort of almost like a buzz. And then with that little buzz that you feel at that time, you will start recognizing how your energy body is operating. You can then focus on that buzz, almost as if you would concentrate on that for that to relax you. And you will try to connect with that more and more. You can even, using your will, try to almost like raise the frequency. And that may produce you results that are going to be very productive for when you are trying to leave your body. And even the out-of-body experience can naturally happen in that moment. But that is a training that we don't do normally. We just want to go to an out-of-body experience technique or an energy technique and get there immediately without being able to tune ourselves properly, to put ourselves in the proper condition to get the results we want. I have one last question here. Aline is saying, sometimes someone pulls me out of my body by my feet, and then I feel like I am in a washing machine. I understand the feeling. How do I get through this when it happens? Get through, you mean being able to go further and be out of your body consciously, or be able to stop this? What do you mean? What I would say here is the idea would go further. How do you get through this? Allow this washing machine to shake you. You allow, you go with it. Even make it, get more increased. Because what you are describing here, you do not have any sensation of invasion in your energies, invasion in your thoughts. You do not have any sensation of oppression, anyone trying to make you feel down or anything like this. So I would say, go for it. Spin with it. Many times we start detaching from the body, feeling like we are spinning. I also have a video that talks about that, spinning out of your body. If you need to work with energies afterwards, once you're outside the body, you do it. Otherwise, enjoy, learn, and then you analyze later. Could you please share with me some of your favorite projection targets, place to go, things to discover? And could you please recommend the best way to reinforce these intentions ahead? Best way to reinforce the intentions is make sure you're picking a target that is your real wish. Because sometimes we pick targets of things that we are curious about, or that would be interesting targets. Things that we would like to learn. Oh, I like to see the pyramids of the Egypt and see what is that all around. But maybe inside your heart, you are feeling like, I would like to see how my mother is. So it's very important to acknowledge what compels us at that moment. And once you identify it, you are going to take note. You will take note and you make a list of your targets. Usually we should have like 4 or 5 targets in our list. Because sometimes we leave the body in conditions that will be easier to reach a target that is close or further. And here, from what I said, you already can identify. You can have a target that is a place. Sometimes a target is a person. We have to remember that sometimes we have a target that we don't reach. You know why? Because the energy around that target or the type of spirits that are present in that place or connected to that person, be that person living, in physical body or in between lives, sometimes the energy and the spirits around make it harder for us to connect. So we need to keep trying. And the ideal is we think of that before the experience. So before the experience, you think of what you want to do, in your heart, inside of yourself, you reinforce that. You try to create the feeling as if you were in that place, as if you were with that person. It's just creating the feeling because you know what you are trying to achieve, right? Let's say you want to go to the depths of the ocean. Watch videos about that. We all know how it looks like, but do like a mental saturation. Watch videos about that. And that's why you take note. It's a type of mental saturation. So you watch videos, you get some objects that are from the ocean, maybe some shells or something, and you put around and you connect with them. The more you connect energetically with your target, the easier it will be for you to reach your target. So then, when you are detaching, having that connection may even help you be propelled out of your body to go to that target. But choosing the right target is key. Oh, it's Andreas from Caracas. Hi, Andreas. Very nice. Thank you for introducing yourself. Which you consider the best way begin with for the OBE experience? Studying some of your books, Velo or Luis Mineiro, or courses on Velo or CDP. If I were to recommend something, I would recommend the CDP. Luis Mineiro's book was written based on the CDP. So it's kind of a transcript of the CDP. The thing is that is outdated. We have so much more information now. So many things have been updated, included, adjusted. That's the nice thing, because CDP, Consciousness Development Program, for those who do not know what the CDP is, it's been around for 30 years, literally. But throughout these 30 years, it has been through several updates, renewal. Information was included, removed, adjusted. New research feeds into it, and we go perfecting even the way to teach the techniques based on what we learned. Not we learn only from experience, but from the results that we see from the students. Some of the things like those that I shared with you at the beginning of this talk here. So I would recommend the Consciousness Development Program. Also because in the Consciousness Development Program, you would have an instructor directing you, mentoring you throughout 12 months. So a whole year that you will be able to participate in live classes, to ask questions, to tell how your experiences have been, to clarify things. So I think that is very valuable. But that would be my suggestion, Andreas, because that covers the theory, the aspects that we need to know so that we know what to do when we are outside, and aspects we need to clarify so that we are not afraid or concerned with things that are not important, but we know how to mind those that are important. We know how to interpret our experience, and we learn techniques, not only to leave the body, but also techniques to properly work with energy, so that we gain from those techniques, we develop our maturity, our capacity to sense and to control, rather than just have an experience and open up ourselves, sometimes with no specific results in terms of our personal development. Okay? So that is my suggestion. Can one of my astral bodies enter another astral body after leaving the physical body? So you mean you would fuse with another astral body? So you would enter another astral body? Is that what you mean? When you are outside your body, you have one astral body that will be acting. You, no other astral body will enter yours. Can another consciousness, being outside the body, get close to you and in a way influence you? Yes, but that also can happen here in the physical world. So that is more a psychic connection. I'll say psychic just to make it simpler, but it's more of a very deep energy connection that produces a phenomenon than entering our bodies. And sometimes people concerned with something similar, can an astral body or another being, entity, enter my body when I am projected because my body is empty? And the answer is no, 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 not at all. Why not? Because anything that would compromise, that would alter the condition of our energies to that point would bring us back. So I'm not saying nobody gets close to us when we are outside the body. Nobody, I mean, no entity would get close to us when we are outside the body. But if they mess up with our energy, if they try to affect our body, we will simply come back and wake up. So that is a mechanism that is automatic. Now, I see Patrice have placed some questions. I practice the New Energy Way, New NEW, by Robert Bruce for quite a long time. Is Velo close to this practice, and what are the advantages in the practice of Velo compared to New? Look, I have read Robert Bruce's book when I was writing the Vibrational State book, because I wanted to see how his experience would compare to that of so many people that I was researching about. I haven't read about this technique, so I do not know exactly what the technique you are referring to is. Yes, I read some things that were very similar to Velo, but things similar to Velo, many different authors and many different traditions and schools, you will find it there because it's ancient, it's known. You move your energy inside your body, you move energy from this chakra to that chakra. So what is important is, and I cannot say which one is better because I do not know that one, and I wouldn't say this is better, that's better. You have to see what's better for you. But what is important is, what is our level of control of the energy when we do it? Because Velo prepares our energy to have out-of-body experiences. Sometimes it prepares so much that in the same moment, the out-of-body experience happens. And there are many research that we have done that have confirmed this. But that is not the most common. The most common is that somebody would do Velo, and later on, at some point, the out-of-body experience happens spontaneously or with some other technique. That's why I'm feeling here a bit difficult to answer your question, because I do not know what New is. And Velo is not a direct technique to leave the body. We have another question, right? How can we protect ourselves or block other attachments and connections from people around you when trying to practice Velo? Velo per se will do this protection. What sometimes makes it difficult for us is that when we are practicing Velo, there may be some people that are so close to us. It's not close in distance. Close meaning energetically so connected. We have such a strong relationship with them even if we don't know, if we don't see them. It can be an entity, it can be a spirit of some type, it can be a person, but sometimes their energy connection with us is so deep that they may interfere in our velo. How? Because at the moment we are doing velo, it naturally starts changing, rebalancing that energy connection that we have with them, right? Because if the energy connection is there, velo will start adjusting your energy, and in a way they recognize, oops, now, for example, you, Solus, is gaining control. My tentacles are no longer there, so deeply connected. So when that energy connection is not productive, the other consciousness tend to react to it and then make it harder for us. But other than that, no, it doesn't happen, because velo is the best technique that I know, and believe me, guys, I have been to places to prevent intrusive energies and unpleasant presences to get a hold on us, to get close to us. So it's important that we know how to do velo. And when we feel there's something external affecting, in a way we are letting that happen. But we have to see, what is my weak point? What is the type of thought or my lack of confidence? Even in the technique, what is the aspect of the technique that I'm not mastering, that it's allowing this energy to infiltrate me? Don't pay attention to the external energy that is coming. Don't concern yourself with that. Believe me, if you do velo that is 20% good only, that makes such a huge difference to the result you may have when you analyze how much of those external energies penetrated you. Okay, guys, I guess I will stop here. I thank you so much for being here with me. If you are here, please remember to give the video a thumbs up. I hope you learned something new and you enjoyed. Thank you for the participation and nice questions all of you brought. I'm very happy. Goodbye, guys. Ciao, ciao.